friends! Hi! My name is Luisa and this is the Lulu Blue Studio. In this tutorial we're going to paint together some roses, a bouquet of roses. You can choose any color you want. Are you ready? Let's start! I'm going to paint these roses in a pink, maybe going a little bit more towards the red color. You can decide to paint your roses in any color you prefer, anything you have available and anything you would like to paint. I start by creating the pink I want. I'm gonna take a bit of opera rose and I'm gonna mix it with a bit of yellow ochre. And I'm gonna start to paint from the middle part, from the center part of the paper. I will create these roses by creating some circular shapes, starting from the center part of the rose. And then I start from the tip of the brush and then press and releasing the pressure. I like to start by having the center part of the rose as the most concentrated part of the flower, and then the more I go towards the outside, I like to dip my brush into water, remove pigment, and with a less concentrated color create further petals. And I created the petals by pressure and release, adding pressure and release, and creating these C shapes. Now that the paint is still wet, I like to add a bit of more concentrated color in the middle, like opera rose. And I just touch with the point of my brush the center part, and I allow the paint to bleed through the wet and wet technique. I've created another tutorial where I explain in details the wet in wet technique, and I will link it below. This rose is going to be one of the biggest, because it's in the center part of the paper, so I'd like to add a little bit more petals towards the external part of the rose. I can now move forward and creating a new rose, which I will create in the same color shades, so using opera pink and yellow ochre. But this time I will add a little bit more yellow ochre because I want the color to be slightly different from this first rose. And I'm going to add my second rose here next to it, and I will give it a different direction. I will have this rose that is looking more towards the upper corner in the right side, and therefore I'm going to give pressure and release to create these petals. But then I will create more petals towards the left side because I want to give this rose a different orientation, a different perspective. I'm adding now more petals towards the external part of the rose and towards the left side. I'm going to add color in the center part. And I proceed further, creating another rose. I will add a touch of orange this time. This is Windsor orange. And I always proceed with the same technique to create this rose. I add a bit of opera rose. And I let the opera rose bleed into the opera rose mixture with yellow ochre. I proceed with a small bud here. I add pink opera rose, especially in the middle part. And I continue creating another rose towards the corner, the lower corner. I change the value by removing pigment into my cup of water, and I create petals that are lighter in color. And I think I will create a couple of roses more. I add a bit of orange, one here, towards the direction of this rose, so I'm gonna add more petals in the bottom right side. Change the value. These are roses in loose style, so you don't have to be too precise. You can just try, and this composition has many roses, so you have the possibility to experience and test which shape you like the most, it comes the easiest to you, and how to use the brush, which colors to give to the rose, and how to allow the colors to blend. Now that my roses are mostly done, I will start to create the leaves. And to create these leaves, I just use the shape of this round brush, and I just create pressure, and I release the pressure. And then I will just take a little bit of this sap green, and I will allow the sap green to blend. I rinse my brush, and I create another rose leaf. And I still remove green from my brush, and I create another leaf that maybe is more in the background. And I love this bleeding effect that we can achieve when the paint is still wet. Continue creating other leaves. One can be down here in loose style. One can be up here. And we can always change a bit the color in order to create this composition in a nicer way. So we can add a bit of yellow, can add a bit of orange. In this way the composition would be less boring, let's say. And it's like I'm adding some stems, and then I add some leaves. And then I add some yellow ochre, so I can give this leaf, for example, a different color. And I like when all of these colors are blending. I use the tip of my brush and I add just some accent colors, some strokes, easy strokes. So what I like of this composition is the way its direction is leading the eye of the observer. So the upper part of this composition is this corner, and the eyes of the observer are led to follow this S shape towards this lower corner. I like to add some accent colors through the wet on dry technique. You can do this with a different brush. And this composition is completed. So that was it, a bouquet of roses. Let me know in the comments below which colors you decided to paint your roses and if you enjoyed watching and painting along with me. If you like this channel, please subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. Thank you, see you next time.